I have noticed in some of my other clips that it's a little confusing. That's because it is. And it sucks that I come across confusing because I'm trying to simplify it, so I'm going to try to do it right now with a simple explanation. Just to sum it up here. Hopefully this sums it up. And I'm making a stab here. I'm not sure this is going to be the cut. Here we go. But what's the odds of getting heads 3 times in a row? 1/8, right? 1, 2, 3 heads. So the question is, so it's 1/8. So when you flip it up heads, what's the odds of getting heads that third time? You think 1/8, right? For that third one. Because you're still part of the equation, still part of that history chain. But when you think about it, what's the odds of flipping a heads? It's 50-50. If you start from fresh. If you think about the past, it's 1/8. But if you think of fresh, like I'm just starting over, what's the odds of getting heads? It's 50-50, right? Well, that's the whole thing. Is it 1/8 or is it a half? When I'm flipping that third one, am I thinking of fresh or thinking about the past? And because of that anomaly, that difference, that produces a change, and you can actually change by your thinking pattern and produce real results. And so the question is, what is the odds of getting that heads? Is it 1/8 or 1/2? And I have a book here, a very common probability, conditional probability equation that says the probability of A given B is equal to the probability A and B over the probability of B. I know if you think that's confusing, that's just the starter. My equation actually simplifies it and says probability of getting a heads and a tails is completely random. It's just that it turns out that it averages out to 50-50. And that's how I changed this equation. I eventually says the probability of getting something is not exactly this equation anymore. And so that's what I'm sort of changing. I'm sort of changing this probability equation. So if you were to, according to this equation, getting the odds in that third one would be 1/4 over 1/2, which would equal 1/2, according to the equation, which means that the probability of getting that third one is 1/2. So I'm fighting it and saying, listen, the probability of getting that head could be 1/8 when you consider the fact that your initial problem said, what's the odds of getting 3 heads in a row? So you're still dealing with that. So when we figure out how to make both equations come out the same, that's where my theorem gets added to the books, I guess. I'm guessing it's. But, I'm drawing a blank here, sorry. So 1/4 of 1/2. So that's it. So what would be the odds of getting that first heads, given that we want to get 3 heads in a row? So it'd be denominator 1/8 and be 1/2 1/8. So it'd be 1/16 over 1/8. They're saying it would be 1/2. The odds of getting that first heads would be just 1/2. So they're saying it's 1/2, 1/2, 1/2 to produce a 1/2, 1/2, 1/2 that equals 1/8. And I'm saying, what's the odds? We know they're saying 1/2, 1/2, and yet I don't think it's that simple. See, that's the confusing part of this. They're saying it's 1/8 each time they flip. And I say it's like 1/8 each time you flip. And yet it could be the same depending on how you think about it. And that's precisely my theorem. Depending on how you think about it actually changes the results. And that's why your mind actually can change reality, change results, produce a given result from your thinking pattern. And it's called creation theorem or prayer theorem, where prayer, our thinking can actually change and make results and make mathematically proven results from our thinking pattern and how we think. And by changing how we think, you can by our prayers you can actually maybe make your life better by praying for something that it should work better. That if prayer isn't working as much as it should, then I think it will in the future. I know magicians are doing some things, so I know that it's out there. That's why I always give it hope, because I think that we're going to be able to do better things. What else? I think that might be it. Hopefully I give an explanation. So I think I summed it up pretty good. Creation prayer theorem. Yeah, I think that describes it pretty good in a 5-minute clip. So let's do it with that. Here we go.